Welcome to Spill the Tea Radio, where we interview awesome singer-songwriters and those who influence their lives. Spill the Tea Radio explores the journey, creativity, and inspiration behind the songs. If you're a fan of 80s music, you will instantly know my guest. She began her career as a teen actress in LA Vegas production of Jesus Christ Superstar. She has toured with famed artists like Ronnie Hawkins and Bo Diddley. She has record contracts, wrote original songs, and traveled the globe to promote her 3 albums and music videos, which earned her a Juno nomination. Her top 10 and top 20 hits and a diamond record, along with starring in her own CTV special, brought her into the homes of millions of music lovers. So, let's spill the tea with Patti Jannetta. Welcome, Patti.
Oh, hello. It's great to be here.
Some crazy stories that you shared with me a little while ago. And one of the ones that really intrigued me was the one about Laurel Canyon in California, because I watched the documentary on Laurel Canyon and all the crazy people and all the stuff that went on there. And you were there really in a great part of what went on in Laurel Canyon.
We were staying in Hollywood at the Hollywood Hawaiian, the infamous Hollywood Hawaiian Hotel, which was the place where all the big rock stars stayed when they were in LA. So Rod Stewart was there. When we were there, Fleetwood Mac was there. I could go on and on because we were there for a long time. We were there for 6 months living there while we did Jesus Christ Superstar at the Aquarius Theater. The place to party, it seemed, was Laurel Canyon when I was there. And we were invited to a few parties. But the very first party that we were invited to in Laurel Canyon, I thought, oh, this is exciting. And I really dressed up. Like I wore a party dress. And like I had heels on and I was dressed to the nines. And we go with a group of us from the show, knock on the door, it opens up, and they're the host and hostess were standing there basically in their underpants, and that was it. He had nothing else on, and she was topless. And I looked in, and it was a huge mansion with a pool inside, with people jumping from slides into this pool on the main level, most of them naked, and just the odd ones, like the host and hostess, had underpants on, and that was it. So
no, you were very young at this time.
17 years old, with an Italian Catholic father and a mother who became practically Italian and very Catholic when they got married. And I would say to everyone in the cast, listen, I was practically brought up in a nunnery. You know, a lot of the things you people do freak me out because most of them were 10 years older than me. They'd all been in hair. They were all used to taking off their clothes and hair every night. So it was nothing to them to be at this party and just to join in. But myself, I couldn't believe what was happening. I thought, can I stand it or not? How can I get out of here? And then I just decided to roll myself up in this hammock that was by the pool and just stay in there for a long period of time until one of my friends came and said, Patti, come on, get out of the hammock. It's not very cool. I went, well, I'm not being cool. I want to go. And they said, no, they're going to show movies upstairs. So I thought, okay, well, at least we can, get rid of this scene, go up those big winding stairs and see some movies. So we went in, I sat down, everybody sat down, the movies came on. Of course, they were porno movies.
There were so many crazy things going on at that time. Do you just acclimatize to it? Do you become numb to the craziness that's going on around you?
Well, from the time I arrived in the U.S. doing Jesus Christ Superstar, and of course, our first place that we performed was the International Hilton in Las Vegas. And so we went right from opening in Toronto at Varsity Stadium to Vegas, playing opposite Elvis Presley, Gladys Knight, Wayne Cochran and the CC Riders, and Rip Torn, the real artist. They were there every night. I, of course, at that time could not leave from backstage because I was a minor. You had to be 21 to go into the casino. So for the first month and a half that I was in Vegas, it was pretty hard for me. I couldn't go anywhere with the cast. And I was there, with a chaperone and all that, like a stage brat. And so I was looking to go home. I was actually had made up my mind to go home. And our Jesus was Victor Garber. And he had said, Patty, you can't go home. He said, you got in this show for a reason. And he said, there must be something we could do. So I guess somebody talked to our producer, Johnny Brower. I shouldn't maybe mention his name at this point because somehow, I'm not saying he did it, but somehow I managed to get some ID that showed me to be 21 years old. And from that moment on, life got a lot different for me and I was able to go everywhere. So I loved Vegas from that moment on. I did some great things and like recording our first album at MGM Studios in LA and laying on a couch. The engineers I became friends with all the engineers because we were there so long doing this whole album. And I only had one big solo on it, but I was in all the backgrounds of all the songs. But people like Victor Garber got most of the solos. So I had a lot of time on my hands, and they used to let me lay on the couch and listen to other people record. People like Carole King. I heard Carole King record. I got to lay on the couch and watch her record for about 3 hours.
Now, Jesus Christ Superstar is over, and you've come back from Vegas and California. Now what do you do?
And it was Victor Garber who actually said, I really think you should give yourself a chance to be a singer. He says, I just believe it's in you. And so he said, decide if you want to go to OCA. But for now, there's this show band that they're friends of mine. They do great gigs. It's a Motown review. They do all the kind of music you love to sing, soul, rhythm and blues, funk, and Motown. So I became lead singer of that show, and it was a show band, and it played like great showrooms, Pinnacle, and all these other rooms.
Let's get the discography in line here.
Yes.
You've produced 3 albums.
Yes.
So let's go through first album, second album, third album, and you've had top 10 and top 20 hits. So let's talk about the albums and the hits that came off of those albums.
Okay, so the first album, just so you know, was called Patti Jannetta. That was an album that I didn't write any of the songs. I was approached to sing all the songs that the Longo brothers had written. And it was all recorded at Zaza Sound with the huge Russ Little orchestra, Lori Bauer singers. And that, I had a lot of hits from that. The next 2 albums, I wrote almost every song with my band. The first one, Party Girl, I wrote most of that myself, and I wrote a lot of that. And actually, that was with my producer, a lot with Ross Monroe, and by myself.
Let's talk about Party Girl in the video. You look like you're having fun there. Now, that's your job to make it look like you're having fun there.
I was, though.
Was it fun to do it?
It was just a blast. I enjoyed doing every video. I just enjoyed it, and I enjoyed recording. Like, I just was so at home in the studio. I loved it. I loved it. I loved it.
And when did we start the tour on the bus?
And we started the tour on the bus after I did Party Girl. That Party Girl climbed up the charts, and I was nominated for Juno, and that's when the tour started across the country.
How long were you on the tour bus with the band?
I had gone back to school for a while to Humber College, and Tony Mergel he was a phenomenal musician and music teacher at Humber, and I had said to him, listen, they want me to go on tour with these musicians that I don't know. Tony, you have the best musicians here at Humber. Can you introduce me to a bunch of great musicians that you would recommend that you think would want to back me up, learn all the music from my first album. He introduced me to Dave Dunlop, Troy Feener, John Jobson, Steve Skangley, and Steve Thomas. And we got together and they listened to my music and they said they really liked it. You know, they had some ideas about doing things live and everything. And they became my touring band. We rehearsed for 2 weeks solid, day and night, and then started the tour.
Well, let's get into one of the songs that you wrote. This song is written for a wonderful man who has been by your side many years. He sidelined his music career so you could pursue yours. And we'll find out more about this incredible guy in a moment. But right now, let's take a listen to singer-songwriter Patti Jannetta and I Know You'll Wait.
I'm so far away again. It's a habit I can't seem to shake. Hotel rooms can all look the same. It's getting harder for me to escape to a place where I'm only seeing your face. Time passes more slowly the farther you away. I like what's happening here, but I think I'd be torn, 'cause I could live a lifetime in the memory of your arms. And I know you wait. I know. Will I find my way back to you? I know you wait. As long as it takes to get back to you. It's really kind of beautiful out here. Could get used to the mountains and blue skies. The way life, it's slow, but I feel it lacks the edge on which I thrive. I'm longing for the neon excitement in the streets. Familiar faces calling, there's music in the heat. Always feeling like you're moving, got somewhere to go. And knowing that you're there, babe, it's all I wanna know. I know you wait. I know. While I find my way back to you. I know you wait. As long as it takes to get back to you. I know you wait. I know. While I find my way back to you. I know you wait. As long as it takes to get back. I know you wait. I know. While I find my way back to you. I know you wait. As long as it takes to get back to you. I know you wait. I know. While I find my way. I know that you wait. As long as it takes to get back.
You're out on the road and you write this amazing song for your husband, Dave. What was the inspiration? What were you feeling at this time?
I was really under pressure by my great new band, who are all wonderful musicians, to come up with the melody and lyrics for our new album. We were writing a new album on the road, and they were coming up with all the bed tracks and some great grooves and some great stuff. And I had like a little tape recorder, and I was singing into it all the time, just trying to come up with ideas. And I used to spend a lot of time in the passenger seat beside the bus driver. I just couldn't sleep. A lot of times on the tours, I just couldn't sleep. My brain was always going. And as we're, and I'd been away at that time, that point, for about 6 weeks from home, from
Mhm.
away from Dave and our two little ones. And it was getting kind of really hard sometimes. But we were just going across Canada at this point, and I'd never been out west. I'd never seen the mountains. And we had, we'd just gotten through all this flat land, like, which was nice, but it was flat. And all of a sudden, we're 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 following the Fraser River, and it's just gorgeous. And there's this huge big moon, and Andy's just driving, and I've got my earphones on. I'm listening to these bed tracks, and I'm thinking, I'm so homesick for the family, but I really love what I do, and I love touring, and I love being on the road, and I love making music, and I love working with this band. Even though I miss Dave and the other band, I love working with this band and writing these original songs. And so I'm there, and I'm going, like, I'm so far away again. It's a feeling I can't seem to shake. Hotel rooms, they all look the same, but it's getting harder for me to escape to a place where I'm only seeing your face. So these are some of the lyrics from that song. And it's like, even though I'm so torn because I want to be home, but I really love what I'm doing. So that's what I Know You'll Wait was all about.
Mm.
It was about feelings of guilt because I'm away from my family. And am I a bad wife? Am I a bad mother? Or is this just what I do and what I have to do? And they understand.
We have been in conversation with Patti Jannetta. Patti, thanks so much for being with us.
Oh, I thank you so much for having me. It's been fun.